Perfect. Hey, wake up. Wake up. It's the Generation Podcast, and you're on it, Wendy.
God damn it.
Wake up.
Why, Daddy? Why?
It's after midnight. I don't care. I think his dog's coming out here. Hello, doggy. Well, what? Hold on. What? This is horrible. This is
Okay.
unlistenable. How you doing, Wendy?
Okay. And don't listen to me.
Uh, so I was looking at our Google Doc and thinking about things to talk about tonight.
Oh, okay.
I noticed you put in something. This is great. For all you listeners, we do occasionally take notes. We usually blow right past them, but this is I'm just gonna read it exactly as it is. I don't know if it's full sentences. Has anyone ever hired a hooker that didn't know she was pregnant and said hooker has gone into labor during the liaison? If that happens, is the John entitled to a refund? Or since this is now entering niche fetishism, is the hooker able to upcharge? And I said, OMG, perfect. So, first
Perfect
off,
part of
that is amazing that you thought of that. I hope it was like at 1 in the morning Central Time. It
it.
sounds like it was. Um, I think someone has definitely done that before.
Oh boy.
What state do you think this first happened in?
A state of panic. What? Oh, you mean
Right?
like location, location,
No,
location.
no, that's
Um,
perfect answer.
um, um, I
That's
don't know. Don't they have a TV show? She didn't know she was pregnant or some shit like that?
Oh, I just turned the volume on. This audio is gonna be horrible. I love it already. Yeah, I didn't know I was pregnant. And I'm like, well, motherfucker, you had a full-on baby inside of you and you're turning tricks. It's
Well,
great.
yeah. That's the babies happen, I guess. It
Is
happens.
is that not the best, not the worst hooker, or is that the best or the worst?
See, I
I
don't
think it's
know.
I
That's
think it's
why.
probably the best.
Okay, so it's niche fetishism then, right?
Niche fetishism, yeah. I think it definitely is. I mean, shit. I mean, when you're like, it's like, hey, guess what? And they're like, what? I'm not fat. I mean, I am, but I'm pregnant too. Like, oh. And what if worse? What if you found out that you hadn't seen this same, you found out that you order the same one or same one shows up and you just didn't know, you're so wasted or worthless that you didn't notice and it was your kid.
Dun, dun. I didn't see that coming. Neither did he.
Yeah, you're catching strays from your stray right there. You
Um,
were you were conceived during a trick and like you found out you were and then you're the kid and you found out you were conceived during the trick and then that he re-tricked he he was re-tricked. Your father was re-tricked by your mother while she was pregnant with you. Now, what are the
wow,
odds you
wow,
go on to
wow.
be a Nobel Prize laureate or whatever? Can you imagine the astronomical
Oh,
odds?
yeah.
I mean,
Especially if you're really into earning money. Yeah, you start earning money before you're even born. I mean, like you've been earning money since you've been conceived.
I don't think
That
it works that way. I don't think you catch like residual like hooker payments, like prostitution cash, like
what?
cash outs from your when you're born. They cut the umbilical cord and they go, here's your money. You earned because you were you mean because you were technically there while she was turning it? You were one
Well, yeah.
symbiotic you know, flesh portal.
Mm. I
That's
suppose no Nobel Prizes are actually the betterment of humanity, so why not?
that is a betterment. There should be a Nobel
Yeah.
Prize for hookers. So, would you say that this is why they say sex work is indeed work? Because sometimes you're carrying a full-on baby.
Ugh.
I just went to this is great. I just went to I went to a baby's party. I was like, I can't say I went to a party. It was a baby's party, right? It's like the baby doesn't know there's a party. So is it a party?
No, they
So
never
just
know.
like the baby doesn't know his mom's a hooker. So is she a hooker, right?
Okay.
It's like Schrodinger's hooker womb.
The baby may or may not know.
I know exactly. So it's like, so I met this baby and I took a selfie with the baby, right? Not the hook. This is after the party, not a hooker's baby. It's for a bit. And I was like, this is nice. But I was also like, I'm missing the fucking Bears game. And I'm a piece of shit. And I had a good time, but I was the whole time I was like, whoa, are the Bears doing great? And all the other football I lost kind of was interesting, but mostly was like, no wins, no good bets. And then so it was just like, oh, well, I missed the Bears game, so did it happen? You know, they crushed, but did it happen?
Oh,
Because especially because I was there the last week,
gotcha.
so it was a disappointment, but the baby was nice. It was a nice baby. It was like you could okay. Have you been on enough babies where you're like that baby's really fucking smart and you can tell? Like just the way that they process like things that are in front of them. She's like, hmm. She kept giving these looks like, "Oh, those are bubbles. Interesting." Not like, "Oh, bubbles." It was like, "Those are bubbles. Quite interesting. I will be bored with them soon, but for now, I will take them on." And it was interesting. And like because the dad is like really fucking smart, like NASA and like a government agency that's like for tech and standards or whatever and technology. But I could just tell this baby was like, I mean, sure inevitably it'll have issues, but like it is clearly a smart baby. Like it walked at like 10 months. I have related to a baby that walked at like fucking 2 years.
Okay.
Like it was a slug, basically. Essentially, that baby is a slug. My cousin is a slug. I
Is
mean
it
it.
fish?
I mean at that point, like it was like, oh, they're developmentally. No, 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 they just didn't want to walk. Didn't walk. Just didn't walk. Not talk. Not talk. Walk. Everyone walks except for people that can't walk because there was a condition. And it was just then it just started walking. Like, how do you just not how do you out of spite? A spite? You're not walking? I don't understand that. So I mean, if I had to rank relatives, I mean, I don't even really met that one, so it's like a baby or whatever, but or infant-ish. But that's not going to be a particularly high rank for me. For me, I'm not a walking baby snob. However, if I'm choosing between a baby that walks at 10 fucking months and a baby that walks at 2 years, I'm taking the 10 months. Sorry, sorry, baby. Stink. I'll never show that relative this episode. But like, what do you think, Wendy? Do you think it just was like, oh, I'm just no, I don't really care about walking or advancing in any fashion whatsoever. Like, and it's like you can't really worry once it just started to walk. You're like, oh, okay, so you're just being a dick the whole time. I don't admittedly I don't know about development at younger ages. I only work with like K through 6 mostly and like a little older sometimes. But for work for my employee. However, it's like if I hear something like that, I'm like, that sounds messed up. You should probably walk. It's great. It's really good. You know what's
Doesn't
great?
matter as long as they're walking by the time they get to you.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just like, it's not, you're not excited to hear that, like, every time, like, oh, how's the, you're like speaking in hushed tones, but there's nothing like clearly like abnormal-ish about them, and they're just not doing a thing that everyone else does. I feel like, I don't understand. Like, please tell me, Wendy, how these things happen was because the mom is not a hooker, okay? So I don't understand the developmental like not delay is the wrong word. Developmental delay is totally absolutely. I think that is most. It is actually the norm. At least now, I think so. Again, I'm very ignorant to anything under kindergarten or above middle school for peak human beings, like as like a
Mhm.
construct. However, that doesn't sound like something that you just do, like not walk. I feel like delayed speech because people have like patterns of speech and stuff, and sometimes they're like, oh, they're quiet, and then they're like by seven they're a chatterbox. Or I used to be, believe it or not, motor mouth me, I used to be pretty shy. And eventually I replaced the shyness with like, oh, everyone should know me, or everyone should know about me. Oh, everyone should do this. And it's like, which is why I probably have a podcast. But I feel like you just snap out of things or you just change or evolve. Evolve's the wrong word for me. But Wendy, like, do you think that's just a little odd that someone just like, I think I'll walk today? And they're not like a baby. They're like a kind of a baby. I don't understand. I just don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
What?
I don't think it's weird.
Did you walk at like 4? Is that what you're saying? Are you like trying to tell me that you walked when you were 4?
Mm. Well, would you love me less if I said yes?
No, probably more. Does I have to like shift gears and praise you for your, oh, you walked at 4. That's great. It's like, um, I at 4, I was already trying to close the deal. I can't say close ass because that sounds weird, but like I had a thing for a neighbor that was like 5. I knew what was up. You know why? Because I fucking walked before I was 2, probably. I mean, invariably, I ended up living with my family for quite a long time and like struggled to maintain good employment and things like that. However, I knew the basics. I could walk, and I wanted whatever the hand holding, talk to me, I talk to you, and we have feelings for each other equivalent of getting ass when I was young. Okay. Very young, I understood the importance of that, or meaning to me, or necessity of it. Like, it's like I dropped out of the womb and I was trying to get back in some womb. You know what I'm saying? Like immediately. And speaking of reproduction, I actually at this party for again a baby that didn't know it was a party, so was it a party? Um, there was this woman, one of the moms there. I go to sit down, and this here you can see me, so I'm going to show you what I did. I come, okay, so imagine this is an empty chair that I'm about to sit in, okay,
Okay.
and I come and I sit like this. I'm looking straight like at an angle. Unbeknownst to me, this woman's got her fucking titty out and breastfeeding another baby that could walk. And I was just like, oh. And I was like, I didn't say anything. I was like, I like froze. And I just went like this. I just like drifted my head on a swivel like slowly. But my eyes were, my brain, my heart, and my soul wanted to like go back and just stare. I was like, oh, wait, it's fine. You can finish. It's like, oh, that's a hungry baby. The best part was it was a fucking hungry ass baby. This motherfucker baby was like sitting on this motherfucking baby was sitting this fat baby was sitting on this like everything was like abnormally large except its feet and her little shoes. It was just like this like fucking Cabbage Patch doll, but with like dainty feet. It was like they were like bound like the Chinese used to do. I don't know. They were like regular feet, baby feet, and just like baby, big old baby. And this baby's sitting there like plucking things off the fucking charcuterie table and just like mashing it in her mouth, like, oh, I'll have that. And I was just like playing along, like, oh, you like the strawberry, huh? She's like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and then like eating the fucking everything. And the mom's like, oh, well, yeah, she's the 97th percentile in a height and weight or something, and 93rd in height and 97th in weight. I was like, oh, that's really, oh, good job, baby. And then sure enough, that 97 percentile weight, 93% fucking centile in height was chowing on that titty, man. I was like, no wonder you feed him in a fucking, there's a house inside right there. I'm not shaming you, but I was like, there needs to be a sign that comes on, like a neon signs like titty feed in progress. Titty feed, titty feed, titty feed. So I don't like flock inadvertently to it, direct line of sight at an angle, and I'm gonna sit there like, and I had this cheesy grin on my face, and I had to be like, oh, but silent. I was like, oh, a titty, that's a goddamn titty. And I was like, oh, you're really milking that. You're gonna get to the 98th percentile, motherfucker.
Oh, like a
Fucking
moth to the light, aren't you?
oh yeah. I mean, that's a big dumb eater right there. And the nice titty. Um, and then but the smart baby's sitting there like, that's interesting. I don't eat titty milk. And it's like, like I could tell that the baby's like, oh, you're a breastfeeder, are you? Interesting. This is my party. I am aware of it as it turns out. I walked at 10 months. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, you got a smart baby, don't you? This motherfucker, my buddy, I won't say his name, but he's from somewhere else originally, a different country, by way of another country, by way of Missouri, as he used to say, Missouri. But like, I totally exaggerate his accent throughout time. So every time I would talk about this motherfucker back in the day, and it'd be like, it was so funny because I would talk about him, and when I did, I was like just blabbering about like his accent, like doing his accent, and he doesn't have a fucking. It's like not that thick, but I would completely exaggerate. So they'd meet him. They'd initially the first few minutes would be like they would look completely disappointed, right? Because I talked him up, and then they would observe him though, and they're like, "Oh wow, this guy, this guy. Okay, I get you. I got you." Um, this motherfucker. We used to go out. He would go with an I heart to fart hat and like a fucking wig, this motherfucker with a wig. And I'm like, that's fine. I can still close, not ass, but like situations with despite this. I'm like, it was like a challenge. It's like when Joe had the in the first couple episodes of the podcast when he was on fucking ketamine. I was like, that's fine. I can do improv with a guy on ketamine. I'm that good. And I felt that way about like the pursuit of ass or whatever it was, conversation. Hey, we should talk to her. I'm like, you're like, yes, I fart. And I was like, that's totally fine. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, you're gonna be you and I'll be me, and this will still maybe work. I don't care. Fuck it. Fuck it. Because I'm always gonna choose friendship over that because the right ass is gonna close itself, you know?
Mhm.
It's just gonna close itself. So this motherfucker with the I Heart to Fart hat and the wig and then like the mid aughts at bars, and he we used to know a bunch of au pairs because the YMs the you sorry the youth development place where organization where I eventually worked at later. I was a member at the gym there, and I met au pairs. My someone used to mess with me because I'm like, dude, you come here, you're like here an hour and a half, and half the time you're talking to au pairs. It's like, yeah, that's a workout. I'm working on another part, okay? And so I knew an au pair or two, and one of them had their host family was out of town or something, so she had people over on a Friday or Saturday night. I think it was Friday, irrelevant. And this fucking guy comes with me, and at one point I got a 40 in my hand. I'm just living the life on the at a pool deck, a balmy evening in the summer or late spring or something. And I look and he's in the pool with some girls. I'm like, cool. I'm like, so I take my eyes away, drinking my 40, just basking in the cool night, the cool balm or whatever. And this motherfucker, I look up, this motherfucker is getting housed by this big, tall girl. And he disappeared inside of her like grasp, fucking arms, and like, "Rah!" like, and they're just making out, going for it in the pool, in the water. I'm thinking he's probably got a water boner. This guy's going for it. And we like, I think the party ended quickly after that or something. And he's like, all right, we're going home. I was like, well, all right, yeah, I'm driving, obviously. And because you just look like it's really silly and you're probably wasted. He wasn't even drunk. Really, he was just really excited to be making out with someone in a pool in America, basically. And I'm driving. We're about to pull out, and he's like, "Guess what?" I was like, "What, man?" He's like, "That was first French kiss. First, my first kiss." I was like, "Oh, that's great, awesome!" And then it was just like, and then sure enough, like I was there the night that he met his wife. And let me tell you why he met his wife. I had a friend, may or may not have hung out with her a couple times, like in the previous year, before that, a year or two before that. And then she had a roommate later, and her roommate was cute, but ultimately stupid as fuck. However, I didn't know that at the time. But what I did know is that she was leaving town, and I hung out with her a couple times with group and alone before. And I was like, okay, you know what I like? People that I have an exit strategy with built in because I was an opportunist, and I probably, in many ways, still am an opportunist, just not in that way. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, oh, I almost know his name. Starts with a no. And I was like, hey, let's go hang out with these girls. This girl is like going out. This girl's going out of town. He's like, oh, when is she going? I was like, it doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter. She's leaving is the point. And I'm not. So cool for me. And so we're like, let's go out. Sure enough, I meet up with this girl and her friends come and my buddy comes and we're at this Irish pub. This girl was in her that he ends up marrying. It was in her fucking like this was like a mega church type of thing in a small group. He went to the same mega church as all them, but they didn't know each other because it was like 3,000, 5,000 people in this church and whatever non-denominational fuck all place. And oh my God, Wendy, this guy, he hits it off. And I was like, I I was trying to be like not a scumbag, but like a complete opportunist. And it led to someone else's ultimate opportunity. Now there's a child years later, because we're 40 something, like years later, they're like, oh, let's have a baby. We're bored of traveling. That's essentially what happened. It sounded like we've gone everywhere. Fuck it, let's have a baby. And that baby had a party. And yes, I know I joke that babies don't know they're having a fucking party. This baby is sentient. This is a sentient fucking baby, and it doesn't take titty milk. I don't even think it eats formula. I don't know what it runs on. Wendy, what do you think it? What the fuck?
Steak dinners, steak potatoes.
Steak dinners? It just like gums steak down. Oh, thank you for preparing the steak medium rare, mother.
Put it in
Look
the
at
blender for me.
put it in the blender, but just so I can humor you. My teeth are going in on the morrow. And you're like, oh God, what the fuck, baby? And you're like, yes, I am still a baby, but someday I'll be large and you will be the same. I'm like, oh fuck, this baby is so smart. It's like diabolical, but I think it's gonna be so nice because his parents are warm people, and it's just like, but however, babies that walk at 10 months are probably down to be like bad news if they were like taken. Well, no one's gonna take this baby. Let's be clear. Maybe a big old form like titty eating baby is gonna be taken from its home. Sure, obviously, it's a slug. It's a slug. But this smart ass baby, no one's taking this baby. Anyways, um, but if hypothetically it was taken and sent down a river, like in Willow, and found by a peck, like a small person, as they say they were the pecks, they were the what were they? What were they called? Peck was a derogatory thing. I think what were they called in Willow? Do you remember?
Were they dwarfs?
They were like it was dwarfs, but there was yeah, I guess they were never referenced. So, anyways, a dwarfed couple is like find this baby, and then it goes on an adventure. Do you think that the baby is going to end up in good hands, or do you think, say, like a sorceress is going to do something that reprogram that baby? I think the baby is going to be like, I have better chance being this to being the stray for this fucking sorceress than this fucking like these dwarves and shit. Okay, I think so. I know I'm really talking about the movie Willow, but you should see that movie. Where can they
Oh,
email us on Willow and Titty Milk?
yeah. And if you think like I think that you're actually talking about the movie Elf, email us at degeneratenation@gmail.com.
That's not the movie Elf. You can tweet us at Degenerate Show also. Please send us emails or more emails. I don't know. I don't know if we have any fucking emails. Well, I'll check eventually again, and maybe there will be some, maybe there won't. Maybe it'll be eloquent, maybe it'll be stupid as fuck. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Just do it. Give us things. Make things for us. Send us weird jewelry. Um, I'll get a PO box so you can send us weird body jewelry. I mean, that's the only type of jewelry there is, right? Stuff that goes on your body. But it doesn't sound, when you say body jewelry, it doesn't sound dirty.
Yes.
Yeah, you
It
like it?
doesn't sound like sexual dirty. It just sounds like icky, out of the garbage dirty.
Is it a
Yeah.
major ick for you? That's like young people say ick, so we can be like hip to the youngs. But if like calling them youngs, it makes it already sound not cool and not hip at all. They're quiet quitting listening to this show long ago, so it's fine.
Maybe not
Uh-huh.
for Luther, but so I'm definitely gonna yuck his yum.
Yeah, you should yuck Luther's young all the time. Um,
Ew.
I mean, these babies are like taking over. I don't know what this generation of babies is called, but I think it's still Gen Alpha. I did some research, but obviously not enough because I'm not the best and not the worst at research. Um, but whatever this generation is called, I think there's going to be a definitive line between those who walk early and those who walk late, and all, like late as fuck, and also those who accept titty milk, who thrive off the absence of titty milk. Okay, and now again, there's three types of babies. Okay, there's titty milk babies that often languish on the tit too long, and then there's formula babies or whatever, Similac or whatever the fuck, Juicy Juice or fucking like Kool-Aid babies, fucking Kool-Aid and protein shake babies. And then there's the babies just like, I will not have either of those things, mother. I will be taking my I will be taking my talents to steak dinners. We're going to we're going to Ruth Chris, and you're gonna slightly blend my steak. You bitch. Mother, you bitch. And it's just like, oh, okay. The baby just rules everything. It's like Boss Baby or like Baby Genius, but real. Like 10-month-old walking mild. And we're talking like interest, but not fascination with bubbles. I was like, she knows what bubbles are. She likes the bubbles, doesn't love them. This baby's fucking smart as fuck. This baby's like she was like picking up like the drinks and looking at them like, non-alcoholic beer, there must be a loser here. And she's like, put the beer back. And she's like, or setting it down, like hand it to me. Like, it's like, how did you know I wanted that? It's like, you look like the type. Didn't There are those who stay on the tit too long and those who never get the tit at all. You're the never at all type, aren't you? She's like,
I hope
she's gonna
that
talk.
now, yep, I hope
What?
that now there are babies that are on the tit too long, and I hope those are the babies that are gonna someday push me around in the nursing home.
Oh, they're gonna push you out the windows, or like they're gonna shut down the AI nurse system. I'm sorry, there's a problem, Wendy.
If they have any empathy at all, they're gonna push me right out the window. Thank God.
You have been deemed non-essential.
Amen.
I know. We have to make sure that we full on go before the partners because like that's gonna be horrible if not. If not.
Oh
You know what I'm
boy.
talking about?
Please, please. I
Again,
beg of you.
listeners, I'm not talking about a death pact. I'm clearly not talking about that. Okay. I'm just saying it's going to suck. Be like, "Ugh,
No, he's not talking about
ugh."
that. He may have mentioned the word Kool-Aid, but it's no, no, it's not a death pact.
This is the babies drinking Kool-Aid in lieu of actual like nourishment. Like that they do in food desert. Like food desert babies are like, fuck it. Look, did I want to feed them? Yes. But after a 13-hour shift, I got no titty milk left. I don't know why. It's like the end of fucking Grapes of Wrath where she gives the tit to the poor guy or like the starving guy because her kid was a stillbirth or something or whatever fuck or dead baby or something. I don't know. You read that book? Well, let's spoil that book for people. The book was
Oh,
written in the 1940s or 30s.
Grapes of Wrath
Um,
nursing home. It's terrible. I'm reeling around in my wheelchair. Do you want the old pity?
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna huff my own urine diapers. That's what I'm gonna do.
All right, and
It's gonna
my
be
titties
awesome.
will be hanging so low that I'll be able to nurse myself from my own titties.
You're gonna nurse your milk, titty milk, and I'm gonna fuck. There's gonna be some supplement you take or like things so that like you recharge your titties, but but you can't like they're like unbrawable, but they're like supplely like milkable for some reason. It's like taking like cow supplements and you're like, oh, my titties got milk again, you know?
They're
Just
gonna be
like as if
pear
you hadn't
shaped. It's
gone through
gonna
the
be awful.
if you hadn't gone through the change 40 years before and it's like a rechange and you're just like, my tits got milk again. It's like, and they're like, what do you mean again? Like, you don't have, you have fur babies, not like the human kind that can ruin your life when they don't walk after 2 years or whatever. But like, no, it doesn't matter. The supplements, it's the cow supplements. The future is everywhere. And she's like, now I have titty milk for days and weeks and months, however long I suffer, I will at least be fed.
Oh, at least the other residents won't go hungry.
Are you gonna feed the residents?
Well, you know
You,
what?
you,
If my husband and I are wheeling along together, why can't he have one? I can have the other.
it's a good idea. I think that's love. I think that's what the real like they should have done another draft of the Notebook because they kind of I'll spoil that one too. Fuck you, everybody. They die holding hands, and one is just like fucking dementia, and the other one is like a heart attack. Like it's so stupid. There's no way they would have died at the same time. I'm sorry, those are
They're
completely
gonna
different
die with the
ailments.
nipples in the mouths.
Yeah, they're gonna die with everyone's gonna die with your hangdog tits in their mouth, just milk on their chins, drooling onto a puddle. It looks like that's shaped like a mushroom cloud of the nuclear blast that'll eventually kill us all. Bye.